Greetings, everybody, and welcome back for another Last of Us discussion podcast. I'm your host, Rich Billy Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
It's going great, people. It's going great. We had this 3-day weekend, so I'm enjoying it. A lot of stuff in the house. Got to watch this Last of Us. It was good. It was good. So good.
Absolutely. Agreed. And we are also joined by Mr. Carlos Romero. How's it going, Carlos?
Yo, what up, Rich? What up, everyone? Yeah, it's interesting. We got the last episode a couple of days early, so it's felt like a minute since Last of Us has last come on. So can't wait to talk about it and another interesting episode.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 6, titled Ken. Yeah, we did. I know that you both had a chance to see it yesterday. I actually just saw it a couple hours ago on HBO Max. So with that said, we're going to give our initial impressions of the episode. Then we'll talk about some of the deviations in the episode, and everything will flow together from there. So, as far as the initial impressions are concerned, I'm going to go to you first, Mr. Adam Vale. Let us know what you thought about this week's episode.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was super thrilled to see one of my favorite actresses out there, and that is I'm blanking on her name, but I know her as Tara from True Blood, and she was the brother's wife, Tommy's
Maria.
wife. Yeah, Maria. But I forgot her real name. The actress's real name is what I was trying to. I blanked on it, but I'll find it one after. But she's an amazing actress, and she was amazing in True Blood. Love True Blood, and I haven't seen her. I know she's been doing little bits here and there, but this is great to see her in here, and I have a feeling she'll play a major role going forward. Now that we know it's been confirmed for season 2, so that was great. I liked how they, because I know we'll go into it, but I just like how they really blended that community, because we know that in the game you don't see too much of it. It's still in its early stages of being put together, and you see how it flourishes in part 2, but they're already showing it all like, hey, this is it, this is the home base, everything is cool here, you know, you could stay here and start a life and stuff. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed all the little tweaks and stuff that they added for Joel with his panic attacks and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Just to put him down on just like on an even playing field with other parents and or other people that are caretakers of others that just know that stress. You know, there's a certain stress when you take care of other people that you worry all the time, and it's good to see that. You rarely see that in TV. It's always like, oh no, you put on the strong face and then you go in the bathroom and then you cry. You know, no, it's like he's like freaking out, like, it's like little things are catching him. He's like, oh, I'm losing my hearing. Oh man, I can't see anything. Oh, you know, he's freaking out, and I love it. I love it. I love that. Just bring him down to home. He's not a superhero, you know, and he's not a super killer machine, you know, like double agent Jason Statham or anything like that. So, it was good. I enjoyed this episode. I was very pleased with how they progressed, but I have
Oh,
one concern, and is that there's 3 episodes left. And we already know, and we keep telling people, and I swear I see it all the time on chats and messages, like, oh well, they'll continue the story in next season. No, season 1 of this show is covering all of game 1. We
plus
have
DLC.
plus DLC, which if you saw, and we'll talk about it later, but they showed for the trailer for next episode. That is the DLC. They're gonna squeeze that in. There we go. We got it. But you got 3 episodes left to wrap this up. So I'm just concerned that we're gonna see a lot of stuff get cut or get rushed through in the end part, and I'm not looking forward to that. But hopefully that doesn't happen, and they figure out a good way of making those transitions and stuff. That's it.
So, yeah, so some excellent takeaways, Adam. Let me go ahead next, real quick, and then I want to go to Carlos. I want to say I agree 100% with that concern, and we'll get into that a little bit later because I also was concerned when I saw this episode where exactly this episode was going to end at. But I once again, I thought this was a great episode of The Last of Us. I like how, as you said, Adam, they started to introduce, they showed us elements of this community. And of course, the main thing I saw in this episode is the Easter egg that everybody was talking about online last night. They asked the question, "Was that Dina?"
It
Now
has to
we
be.
can't talk. It
I know.
has to be. Now, obviously, we can't talk about who that character is, but I like that they put that character in there because there will be answers provided in the future about
Oh yeah.
what that character's role is.
That seeds
Um,
planted plays a major part in the second
Interesting.
game.
I'm like, it looks like her, but I didn't really think much of it. But
You know what? And it wasn't so subtle. I mean, I can understand if it was just something in the background, but it wasn't. She addressed it. It's like, "What's up with her?" Ellie said it. Remember, it's like, "Why is she looking at it?" It's like, oh, so then now it's drawing the viewer's attention to it.
Yep.
And then if you play the game, then you can put two and two together. I'm like, oh, wait, there we go. All right, I think I know. All right, I get it.
And the other thing is, they had a podcast after this show where Neil Druckmann, they have the after, and he did mention that character. We'll learn more about that character later. So clearly, I think that is her. It's safe to say because it looked like her. But we'll see what happens. But I thought it was a very good episode. They captured some of the moments we got in the game as far as the tense conversation between Ellie and Joel, which I thought was fantastic. There were a few deviations, but the way the episode ended, I thought it made perfect sense considering how the episode started. And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. But I thought it was an excellent episode. And I'm very curious to hear what Mr. Carlos Romero has to say about this episode. So take it away, Carlos.
this was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. I do have an interesting comment about it, and I'm curious to see if you guys kind of agree. For me, it's different because I played the game like we all did, but it's been such a long time that there are things that I don't remember from the game. But my comment about this episode is I feel like this episode made me feel the game more than any other episode. Some of the beats from the game when they followed through the town, even the movie. But I feel like the movie might have been from another maybe Last of Us Part 2 or something. But the whole episode just made me feel like I was playing the game over again. So I really appreciated that. And yeah, this was a really good episode. I do have a slight concern about the future, a little bit towards what Adam is mentioning, but I'll mention that later on. I do want to give a shout out to Pedro Pascal because he acted the heck out of this episode. He was amazing. I really enjoyed seeing Tommy again and their interactions. They did a really great job with all their scenes. Ellie,
Tommy looks so much like the character from the game. Like he's on point.
Don't tell Rich that. But yeah, they were so good. Ellie's scenes, specifically towards the end of the episode, were incredible. Yeah, overall, great episode. I really enjoyed it. I do want to mention that remind me later on to mention my slight concern. It's not something that I'm like 100% certain that it'll happen, but I do have a slight concern. It's not a mega one, but yeah, like you guys mentioned, 3 more episodes left after this, so we're in the thick of it, and it's almost go time. So.
Before I forget, just how you mentioned that this really connected you with the game, it did the opposite for me because I just think of all the combat that we're missing, and I get it. It's you have the drama, it's TV, you have to throw all the other aspects. But we haven't seen a lot of that encounter with just all the different creatures that they encounter within the game, in the world. And I know some people would say, well, we just got in the last episode, that big attack and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but there's different types that start impacting, and there's different scenarios that bring tension to certain scenes. And remember, there was a big part that took place with Tommy and all of them in this part when Ellie runs off in the game. Ellie had run off on a horse, and toward the end part, and they went after her because she heard the whole discussion about Joel not wanting to take control anymore. It's like, no, let Tommy, you know this area better, you go deal with it. But then they had to go find her, and then they came across another group and all kinds of craziness that happens, which it looks like we're still going to encounter that group according to the trailer come next episode. But I just miss some of those things. It's a minor thing because the drama, the way they deliver their lines, like you said, Pascal and all, they're killing it. And it's funny too because they are delivering these lines almost word for word from the game. That whole with Ellie and Joel's like, everyone's left me and now you're doing it. Oh, that was from the game. It's just amazing that how much of that they actually kept, and it just gives credit to the writing of the game. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, it's based off a game, but it's a video game, right? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Well, here's a big deal because the writing was amazing. The storytelling was amazing. And I remember playing that game. I'm like, this could be a movie or a show. And fast forward a bunch of years, and here we are. So.
Well, I agree with everything you said, Adam, but let me make this comment right now. Adam, you don't know what loss is.
Yes. I know what loss is. I lost everybody. No one's around me. People die and they leave me. You're leaving me, Rich. You're leaving me. Oh, Lord.
Oh. Yeah. So, but no. I agree with everything you said, and as a matter of fact, we're going to go right into the deviations because
I always found that funny. Real quick, I always found that funny, even when I played the game. When he mentioned, I'm like, you're talking to a child that has no family.
Yeah,
like I understand you lost your daughter. Get it? That's horrible. It's tragic, and we still don't really know too much of what happened to the wife. Right? But this is a child who has no one. She has no family, no siblings. She has no friends, no caretaker. That one friend that she had, we'll find out in the next episode what happened to that one friend. She has nobody. And then to throw that line, how dare you? That's what she should have said. How dare you, an adult, a man who's made it that far in life. She's in her teens. She may never make it to that point in her life. She is already alone. How would he feel if the roles were reversed and he was a child in that situation? You don't know loss. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you're right. 100% right about that. I mean, I'm glad that they had the same dialogue. The only thing, like you said, that was different is that they didn't have all of the other stuff leading up to that because, as you said, when she found out, she did storm off and you had to find her in the game. Of course, there were some enemies you had to face as well before you got to her. So some of that stuff was changed. Also, if I recall, Tommy's place did get invaded in the game.
Yeah.
And they had a moment where you had to fight those gangs that, those groups of people as well. In addition to finding Ellie, later, further down the road. So some of that stuff definitely was taken out for as far as the action is concerned. But they kept the drama there, which I thought was necessary.
And I feel they filled those spots up with the dialogue of Maria and having that conversation and building that relationship, which tells me again that she will be a mainstay character. As before, she wasn't too much of a character in the game. She's the wife, whatever, she's gone. But this seems more long-term.
Yes.
By adding that. So.
And speaking of Maria, maybe the both of you, I don't know if you remember this, but I don't remember, Tommy now being an expecting father. So that adds another element to it to let you know that. Because I don't think that I don't remember that being in the game at all. That wasn't in the game.
Nope.
So it made sense why he should stay behind to take care of his family because he has a baby on the way.
Kicking that line, the roles are reversed. You'd be like, your life has come to a standstill, but mine hasn't. And this and this. And I'm telling you, I know so many. I've heard that conversation, not just so much toward me because I have a family and stuff, but I've seen people that live the crazy life, running around partying. And I'm like, I can't go out. I was like, oh man, we're doing this. And then once they meet somebody and have a kid, it's like a switch. Just turned off. I was like, oh, you going out? Nope. Gotta go home. 8:00. Gotta go help with dinner and with the kid. Oh, yeah. Now you see how it is. All right. So
Exactly.
mhm.
So, I mean, I'm very curious to see where things go. But of course, that was one of the deviations that I did see that we did discuss. There were a few other ones I wanted to know. So, Carlos, was there any deviations that stood out to you in this particular episode?
I can't really think of one. Well, was it? Do I remember correctly, or was the town where Tommy is? They showed the place where there's the generator, right? That huge generator with a waterfall and stuff.
The dam.
The dam. Wasn't that separate from the town?
That was still powering the town. That is how they got their power. That's why they were near it,
Yeah,
because they used it.
but in the video game, wasn't the dam and the town like pretty like separate from each other? Like it was still powering the town, but it wasn't. But they weren't part of the same like section. But it's a minor thing. I can't really think of any deviations, other than it feels like this episode was just a big compression of a lot of the stuff that happened in the game. I feel like in the game it took a lot longer to develop. Um, I mean, they changed.
Yep.
They changed the town. They changed showing the people in the town. They changed
They
Rutina Wesley. Rutina Wesley is the actress's name that plays Maria. That was
Okay.
that's the new addition. That's her name, Rutina Wesley. They changed
Well-
that. I'm trying to think of what else. Key changes.
Well, there is one other major change is they changed what happened to Joel because
Oh yeah. He fell, right?
towards the end.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, well yeah,
exactly.
we'll get to that. I figured we'd talk about that, but
Yeah.
if you want bringing that up, yes, that definitely changed. That definitely changed because he in the game he falls off like the second story within that school location, and he falls down on a piece of metal that's protruding up from wherever it was, and then he gets off it, and then they get on a horse, and then that's the whole thing where he's like injured.
Well, that was interesting because I was expecting that, and that's a good one, Rich, to mention, because there were the monkey scenes were right from the game, and then I remember there was a shootout, and I'm like, and they were, but in the show, they were leaving, and I'm like, oh, like they already got to the horse, and I'm like, well, so there's gonna be no shootout or anything. And then they happen, and then go ahead. Rich.
Yeah, like even that part, I remember in the game, there was a lot of stress in it because you did have clickers as they were exploring, and I was expecting some of that, but then in a way that they can just say, "Hey, listen, you're going to use your knife, we're going to go up real slow and do the slow takedown." That's what I thought we were going to see, some of the stealth kills in this, and we didn't see that. We still haven't seen it. We've seen her use her knife to stab, but it was already covered. Remember, it was like some debris was already on top of it. It wasn't mobile, as opposed to, I figured if they had her just walking around, and this is where he would teach her how to do the stealth takedowns.
Absolutely. And I believe that obviously you already mentioned that episode 7 will deal with Ellie's backstory. I just want to say I'm really looking forward to episode 8 because there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in that episode, because that's the episode, obviously, Joel, we know is and let me just say this. I like how they ended the episode. And this is what I made the comment earlier about how it started and how it ended, because Joel had a conversation with Tommy saying, "Oh yes, you're younger, you're stronger. I know that she will be fine if you just take care of her." Then at the end of the episode, you see Joel, passes out. So anyone that doesn't play the game or know about the game would be led to believe, oh, Joel is not going to make it. So I thought that was a very good way to end it that way, because it puts doubt in your mind once again that Ellie is going to get to the end goal and that they're going to have a happy ending.
Well, we even talking about the doubt. Like, what are you guys thinking? And like, I was thinking that he was just having panic attacks whenever he would like lean his head, and he's like that he was just. It wasn't actual something more health wise. Like he's not having heart issues or something going on, or dizzy spells. Seems like he's just severely stressed of the situation, because he's becoming more.
A lot of stuff can be interconnected. One thing can be causing the other. So.
Yeah, because he didn't ask for medicine or anything when he was there, because that's what would have been the point. It's like, hey, listen, you got a doctor in town, even if they said that, then it's like, oh, they're going to add something here story wise, because it's already new with him having these freakouts. And so
Well, he didn't ask for the shoes either, and he got those.
yeah, he got the shoes, but we knew he was come out. You see this guy walking around like a hobo with duct tape on his. I was like, all right, things are pretty bad. Here, I got some Timbos for you.
he got some Timbs.
Yeah, I got some Timbs for you.
Yeah, I don't know if the panic attacks were added to emphasize that yes, he's much older, and he's very concerned about the situation. Yeah, under a lot of stress, under a lot of pressure.
I thought they added that to show that he's getting more attached to her, and they hammered it home again when they had that one scene where he's a little stressed out over everything, and then he just looks off into a crowd and he sees someone from behind who looks like Sarah but older. Yep. And then a little child runs. It was like, oh, that could have been my daughter if she was of age to have her own kid. And that's his stress. And when you see him always fiddling with his watch, that was the thing that was in the game. It's the same thing, a nod and call back that just shows that she is always on his mind, because that watch does not work, but he has it on and he's always touching it. And whenever certain things happen where he's stressed out, you see him touching the watch. So
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. What else was I going to add? No, I think you covered a lot of stuff of what I was going to say about Joel in the episode.
Can I interject, Rich, real quick?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Are you guys disappointed that we didn't get more action during the hospital, university hospital scene? I guess that's what it was.
Yes, I am disappointed in that. And here's the thing, though, Carlos, and I'm not going to. Obviously, we can't really talk about spoilers on here in regards to the game for those that haven't played it yet. Mm-hmm. But I think that the reason we didn't get action is because there's going to be a hell of a lot of action in episode 8 because of all the stuff that happens.
Well, episode 8 and 9.
Well, 9 too, and again, there's also the quiet moments of the things that they experience together. That has to be in there at some point too. That's why. So what you both said earlier about you're concerned about how much they're going to be able to fit in these remaining episodes. I have a concern about that also, because there's a very particular scene, an iconic scene, where Ellie sees a creature for the first time. We haven't seen that particular scene yet, and I'm wondering if that scene is going to still be in this game. So
in the show, in the show.
In the show, yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm with you, Rich. I am a little disappointed there wasn't more action in this episode. Just a little bit. I understand, everything about this episode didn't need to get cut, but maybe expand it. I don't know, maybe another 4 or 5 minutes with just a little bit more action scenes at the end. I felt like that would have added a lot. Also, I do, a lot of people will say that, oh, we got a lot of action last episode, and I do understand that, but these are hour-long plus episodes now with Last of Us, so the little movies. So having a little bit of that wouldn't have been too bad. But yeah, Rich, the episodes 8 and 9 are going to be jam-packed. I do understand that, and my concern, and I guess we'll talk about some concerns that we could potentially have. Yeah, we don't know how much they're going to fit in, if they're going to fit in all the key points from the video game. Episode 8 is, we're not going to, for those who haven't played the video games, we're not going to tell you what happens, but it's essentially the DLC, going to be a DLC episode. Is it going to be a DLC episode, the whole entire episode? And they're going to, You think that they're going to do like half the DLC portion and then the other half?
I think from the way the trailer showed it, it's going to be a little bit of everything. It's going to be some of the, like a flashback type of thing. Think of Lost. It's like something happens and then it triggers and it shows a flashback. She'll look at something. She'll look at one of the comics or something, depending on if the situation is, which it looks like it's going to continue from how the game played out with Joel when he was incapacitated and she had to help him and deal with all this stuff. There was a lot that she had to do on her own. And they already showed that the people that she encounters on her own, they are going to pop up in this episode. And it said for this next episode. But then they also showed the Riley. So they're going to squish both of them together, which tells me that it's going to be like flashbacks. She's going to, this is what I'm thinking. She's going to recall, since she's on her own, of when she was on her own at the mall.
That's good.
And it's going to be some kind of triggers, something goes, maybe she goes in a certain area and she looks, and then it's like, phew, now she's in the mall, and Riley was like, doing a thing with the mask and all that stuff. Like, all right, you go this way. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. But they showed a lot. They showed them all. I don't know, Carlos, if you saw that trailer. They showed them all. They showed it light up and everything.
Well, I think Carlos is saying, "Hey, don't reveal too many details."
I'm not going to go through. But it looks like it's going to be one of those things. But the question to you guys: do you think it's going to go past this episode with the whole thing with Riley? I don't think so. I think this is it. We're going to get introduced. We're going to hear the story, the back history, and then it's flushed. Okay, that's it. Now you know her backstory with Riley.
I'm just curious. Is it going to be mostly just a flashback in terms of just how much time is allocated per the episode? Because we're at the end game, but Rich, that scene that you're mentioning, I think I know what scene you're talking about. It is an important scene, but it does seem like a type of scene that would get cut off if they're in a rush to get through the season. So I do understand that. There's the set, my favorite, the one part that I was looking forward to the most from this show, from playing the video game, was the Sam and Henry stuff. The second part, well, the second part is the very end part, but the third part is a new character, that we haven't met yet, that is part of this, that is part of the game, and I hope they do it justice. I hope they do most of what the game showed, because that'll fit perfectly into this. Hopefully they don't skip out on that. But yeah, the worry still lies there, because if this next episode it's mostly just going to be the flashback, then there's still going to be a lot to tie up on the last two episodes.
Well, let me just add in a few quick comments here. I think I like what Adams is suggesting, that he thinks it's going to be flashbacks in the current time. My thought is now I'm totally fine if that's what they decide to do with the next episode, but they're also going to be flashbacks of when Ellie was born as well, because we know that Ashley Johnson is playing her mom. So we have to see that also at some point. That's why I figured they would have that in the same episode as this Riley stuff. And if they do that, then I don't know if they're going to fit too much in. Maybe as the episode is ending, that's when you go back to the current time, and this is what's happening now, and then that continues into episode 8. But I'm not sure if they're going to do that. But what I do know is that Storm Reed, the actress that plays Riley, I don't think she's going to be in more than one episode, because she's very busy, very well known, has a lot of different things that she's worked on. So I would think they only want to have her in the one episode, like they had the actor that played Bill, just one episode. And then because they want to focus more so on Ellie and Joel and what's happening with them. So I think that's definitely going to be one time that you see her in this episode, throughout the episode, but I don't think we're going to see her in episode 8 or 9. But yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see how they handle this. And again, as you both said, I am concerned about what is going to get cut. But I definitely, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. Episode 8 and 9, episode 8 specifically, there is a lot that they have to address. And the issue with making these certain cuts to the show is that it's kind of like you don't really give the character enough time to really, elevate. For example, at the end of this episode, we saw that Joel finally was teaching Ellie how to hunt, right? How to shoot with the actual shotgun and stuff like that. That's important because of what in episode 8, she is basically having to do certain things where she is hunting at a certain point. So that's kind of a very quick, if you're watching the show, that's a very quick progression for the character to already know how to do this stuff. And that's my issue is.
Yeah, and that was my concern with taking down the clickers and the infected, which we know becomes a big part. Then the next episode, it's like, well, she's got to learn how to do these things, and he hasn't shown her that part. He just showed her right now how to use the gun just to shoot.
Yep, exactly. So, And I do understand. Yeah, he showed her how to use the handgun in a previous episode, but the hunting part, the hunting specifically, that was something I saw that at the end of the episode, and they had the little joke where, he shoots that the target. It says a hole on it. I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
hilarious.
Or
But
even with the little nod with Tommy and how he bragged about how he can shoot a creature from some ridiculous distance. You're like, can you show me this? And then Joel's like, no, but we know that plays a part in the next one, in the next game.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, okay. So they're planting the seeds already, which tells me that they already knew that this was going to be picked up for a second one. Because if not, that leaves a lot of plot holes. It's a lot of like, what's going on? What happened? Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And by the way, let me make a quick comment, and then both of you can leave your other comments. Carlos made a comment earlier, said about Tommy, that I might have an issue with Tommy. I agree 120% with what Adam said. Now the actor Gabriel Luna looks like Tommy now. The current version of Tommy, the hair and the jacket,
the beard, the mustache, everything.
So I'm totally cool with him as a character now, for sure.
Maria, on the other hand,
Maria, she had a dramatic change, but that's what I'm saying. That's why once I saw the actress that they put in this role, I'm like, oh, there's a reason for this. There's a reason, because if not, you could just get any Joe Schmo just to play wife. They got a serious actress for this, so she's going to play a major part. And remember, they even gave that moment with the backstory that she was. She's also the sheriff, but I forget what was she. Was the district attorney? She was something. I forgot what her position was before the world fell. But
and by the way, to go along with what you said, Adam, about her playing an important role, I made the comment earlier that we didn't get the scene with the gang attacking the place that they're living at. They're probably saving that for season 2. Because that's a pretty important thing where you have to fight all these enemies. They're probably saving that for season 2. So now they
combine it because it also, remember the weather. It was already winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. So you're seeing kids in the back do the snowball fight, and I was like, oh, are we gonna do the snowball fight? Because that was like part of the game mechanic. Remember targeting? I was like, oh, okay. So we're in wintertime. We've jumped ahead. So we're squeezing into what's going on later on. So it's all right. I have confidence in this team that's working on this, that they're going to stick the landing. I really think they'll be able to do it. Hell, we even saw the workbench. When he was hanging out at the workbench with Tommy, he wasn't building anything, but he was there. We saw a workbench.
Oh yeah.
So they're throwing things. There's pictures of giraffes everywhere. A few pictures I've seen with giraffes. I was like, oh, are we going to see the giraffe? Well, they're hinting at that. We saw the monkeys. They did all of that with the monkeys. That was a big part. So I have a feeling they're going to stick it. They're going to stick the landing with this one. Yeah, so I'm just curious to see the reactions of people with how this plays out.
I agree. So Carlos and Adam, were there any other things you wanted to mention about this episode, whether it's other concerns you have or just other things you wanted to point out that maybe we didn't discuss yet?
I just want to mention that, the conversation between Tommy and Joel was incredible. In particular, the one they had when they were alone, and Joel just letting it all out. We still haven't seen that side of Joel in the show, so it was great to see it here. And that
was a deviation. See how emotional he got. We didn't see that side of Joel in the game, so him crying and stuff like that. So
and just seeing the the chemistry keep flourishing and stuff. It's choking me up. I don't know what's going on.
You can let it out. Let it out.
It was great. And man, I need a drink of water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it was all right. It was good. I like the little changes that they add, especially the whole thing with Maria, because it's like, all right, we're adding more story, more characters. Even at the beginning, that first older couple that they come across in the cabin, and they do that whole thing. There was a similar scene that took place when he was trying to gather information of locations and stuff. But it wasn't as friendly, and it was with an enemy, remember? With the torture and all that stuff. That didn't happen here. They made it more lighthearted. It was a married couple who was trying to stay off the grid during everything.
Yep.
And talking about don't go over here, and then even little jokes. It was like, did you tell the husband telling the wife, did you tell them that? Like, yes, I did. Did you tell them the truth? Yes, I did. Are you telling me the truth? Yes, I am. Okay, then I'll tell them. This is where you are. This is where you should go. Don't go here. You know?
Oh, that was that was really good. That's not from the game, right?
Well, that's not from. There was another torture part where they caught somebody. It was a bad guy though, and they were torturing to get information. And they did the whole map thing, you know, like where are we? Use them, and they put a pen in his mouth and the whole thing.
That's right.
But this was different. This was more lighthearted, and it was funny. I think that's the woman from Northern Exposure. If anybody remembers that show, an Alaska-based show about a doctor who actually, I think he moved from Chicago or something. He had a fiance, fell apart, decided to take a job in a small village out in Alaska, and she was his receptionist. And I think that's who she was. I think she was, but whatever. That's what it picked. But it was great. It was fun. I like that. Nothing bad happened to them. That was great. So.
Yeah, that was a pretty neat scene. And then Ellie stealing the rabbit. Is that right? Yeah, so that was pretty good. And then yeah, like I mentioned, the scene with Joel and Tommy was really good. The next scene with, you know, we talked about it with Ellie and Joel after that was great. But I do want to mention the following day when Joel is like, you know, he feels bad and he's like, all right, I'll give you a choice. And then she right away, she's like, no, you, which, you know, was great. You know, it's believable that the show, this scene earned, you know, the show earned this scene from what they've been doing with their characters. And that's why I appreciate it when, you know, a lot of these episodes, when we talk about them, I always mention, I like the chemistry that they're building up. I like the characterization. I like, you know, making these, you know, 3-dimensional characters that whenever we get to scenes like this, they're believable. And this show's doing a great job of doing this, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it worked out. It was a good episode.
I agree. So on that note, before we wrap up this discussion, we need to talk about the scores for this episode.
Oh.
So I'm going to put Mr. Carlos Romero on the spot this time, you know, and have him tell us what his score is first.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to my previous scores here. Yeah. I gave episode 1 a solid 8. I gave episode 2 an 8.25. Episode 3, 8.5. Episode 4, 8.75. And episode 5, a 9. So they're going up steadily, each one at a consistent rate. This episode is a 8.75. Not quite a 9. That, you know, the Henry and Sam episode was incredible. This episode was really, really, really good. But yeah, this, you know, it's still no duds in this series so far, and we're almost done. So, you know, it has the makings of being one of the great HBO series. I hope that the next 3 episodes can deliver. No, I get it, Rich. I get it. There's a strong lineup that HBO has that this has to live up to, but hopefully, I'm really hoping that the next 3 episodes are the best of the series, because while this is a great series, it can jump up to an all-time series with these next 3 episodes.
I agree.
8.75.
I agree. That sounds good. I agree. Some very good comments on that. So let me just say this real quick before I give my score. I personally think that episode 8, I mean, I'm not going to speak for episode 9 yet, but I feel episode 8 is going to be a 9 from me. if they nail everything that they need to nail in it. Because again, there's so many big moments that happen at this point in the story that I kind of feel like it would be hard for them to mess that up. But we'll see, because there is some stuff that is going to get cut from that episode, obviously. But as for this episode, again, I thought it was an excellent episode. I still believe that episode 5 is the best episode that I have seen in the entire show. So I get this episode an 8.5. So still a very good score. Yeah, very, very good score still. And again, excellent acting, excellent performances, and they did very well with the story despite cutting out a lot of the action. But again, they will make up for that action at a later point. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
How about you, Adam? What's your score for this episode?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the same thing, 8.5. I'm not gonna go higher because I'm waiting for the big ones. The big ones. These are all build-ups. This is all intros, from intros with the clickers and the big monsters and other communities and the type of people they're encountering in this world. And from here on, it's lived in. It's like, all right, they know what to expect. They know how things are. Now they have to deal with them. We have to see certain characters come back. We have to see the character that from the Firefly that passed Ellie along to Joel. Eventually she comes back, right? We know she's coming back.
Well, we don't know about that.
Well, the actress said she's coming back. She's not done. So at some scene, she has to come back. And in the game, she did come back. She made an appearance. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say anything. Well, no, I'm not going to say anything. But I mean, this is what I'm saying. These are plot holes because that's one of it. That's one of them. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. At least in this one, unless they change things up completely. So it's just, there's a lot that has to happen in these final 3 episodes. And we know there's going to be stuff that gets cut out unless I haven't seen the runtime. Maybe they can go a little longer with some of these episodes. I'm not sure if that's a thing. But
I'm going to say, well, I'm just going to make a quick comment on that. That last episode, it should be longer than an hour because the premiere was over an hour, right?
Yeah.
So that last episode should at least be like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that, if I had to make a guess, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that final episode has to be pretty long. And if you exclude all the combat, there was a lot of combat in the last part of the game. If you exclude all that, I think you can fit all the dialogue and everything that needs to be said story-wise in there. And it shouldn't be too bad. So it can be done, but then you also don't want to make it just a drama. You have to, it's still an action adventure show. So they have to incorporate some of that. You can't just cut all of it out. And I'm just curious to see how they play out. But yeah, I'm going to stick with an 8.5. I'm hoping that the next episode will be a 9. And for the last 2 after that, 10s. Have to be 10s. But either way, right now, it's a great show. If you still know people that are on the fence if they should watch, if they're into these type of dramas and this type of material of creatures and the world after something tragic happens and all that. And I know, especially now with pandemic, there's some people that don't want to hear about any of this stuff. But if they're on the fence because they don't know the source material, they didn't play the game, don't worry about it. Because you don't need to know it to enjoy what's happening here with the acting, with the storytelling, with the dialogue. It's fantastic. They did an amazing job with this.
I agree 100%. So on that note, I think that concludes our review discussion for episode 6 titled Ken. Definitely leave your comments and let us know what you thought about the episode. And if you enjoy this conversation, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as we will be continuing to review these episodes in the next couple of weeks. So, Adam and Carlos, are there any shout outs that you would like to give? I'll go to you first, Adam.
Shout out to, of course, everybody and the whole team over at the Koalition. You can go check us out. That's the mothership right there. That's the koalition.com. We got other content, other reviews and of games and shows and movies and a whole bunch of stuff there. And of course, this is on our new channel, the Koalition Gaming. Thanks for supporting that channel as it grows. And we have the regular Koalition channel and we got all this stuff. Then Throwdown, which is other stuff that I'm sure Carlos will jump into. So it's just thank you for everybody that's jumping and hopping along with us on all these different projects that we have going on. So thanks for all that support. And of course, I am Negan. That's our Walking Dead. All three of us. We have that podcast. That's on iTunes and Spotify and of course YouTube. And I'm bringing that up because we're getting close. Close, and if we count April as being close, but February is almost over. So yeah, I'm gonna say we're getting close because we got Dead City, the spinoffs. So if you're into Walking Dead and you want to keep up what's going, you can follow us. I am Negan. That's the name of the show. All right, I'm out.
Absolutely. How about you, Carlos?
Yeah, shout out to the Koalition. Shout out to Throwdown. Shout out to I Am Negan. All of it. Yeah. Shout out to Rich. Can't wait to see these next 3 episodes because these, this is it's crunch time,
Agreed. And I want to give a shout out to you both. Always good having these discussions. Shout out to everybody that has been checking out all of our content. Those have also been commenting on these particular podcasts. And we look forward to talking more about The Last of Us next week. But until then, take care. Hope you all have a great week. And we will talk to you all next time.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.